Hey, it's John and Mike from brew-juice.com. Tonight we're sampling some beers, we're talking about stuff.
Dude, big news.
The reality is...
Huge news.
Things change.
Things always change.
People change.
Things will keep changing. That's for true.
Yes.
So we have this big beer conglomerate buying up homebrew shops. How about that? I'm sure you've heard of it. I actually saw somebody post on Facebook because there was another one. Hey, did you see that InBev is buying up Northern Brewer / Midwest Supplies? And someone had written, this is the, and had a very long number, X number of times that I've seen this on the internet today. But I don't know, it's kind of big. I think it's big news. It's a big, like we talk about these in the craft beer world, we talk about these big beer corporations buying up the little guy, and now they're buying up homebrew shops. So what gives? What's that all about?
I have a hard time wrapping my head around how big it is, but what I can say is that the shock of it is kind of big, right? Like the shock is big. I get the AB InBev trying to maintain a certain amount of control over the beer market. And I also understand small craft brewers wanting to take advantage of the things that AB InBev can offer them as far as distribution and capital investments to grow and expand. I get that. That's business. That's good business, right? Even though we might not like it as people who enjoy crafty artisanal things. But this actually hits pretty close to home, and you have to ask yourself,
what are they getting out of it? What are they getting out of it?
Because the real reasoning behind it is still unclear.
Yeah.
The Northern Brewer released a statement explaining that they were sorry that we all had to hear about it via rumor.
Out, right?
Via rumor. Yeah. But that great things are coming, and these are good changes for the future.
Yeah, right.
It's almost like they copy and pasted the tagline from like Goose Island, Scopen, right?
Yeah.
Nothing's going to change. Everything's going to be great. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'm willing to wait and see, just like I'm willing to wait and see all those other things with craft beer. Yeah. But the question that I've had is like, why do this? Like, what could be the motivation? What does AB InBev investment and venture arm get out of it? And what does Northern Brewer get out of it?
Right. Well, not to be blunt, I think Northern Brewer is probably getting a nice hefty sum for it or something. I don't know. I don't want to speculate on that. But some of the thoughts we talked about before the camera started rolling. We talked about maybe there's definitely franchise possibilities that they expand not only from where they are in the middle of the country, but to the coast. Is that a possibility? I mean, we have in our own little area, like a craft beer franchisor. They're building up and putting in different locations, craft beer stores, which is pretty sweet from a consumer point of view. But does that cut out of the mom and pop shop? I don't know. But certainly from a homebrew perspective, that could do something to our local homebrew shops too.
Yeah, right.
If there's a big Northern Brewer facility, 2 towns away, does that cut into the market share of the homebrew shop that's been there for 20 plus years, just doing its thing day in and day out? And the other thing that I thought, because I'm close to it from my line of work, but just data and understanding, this is probably the alpha beer segment. These the home brewers are people who are big beer fans. They're not just casual beer fans. They're into it. And what kind of information could InBev start to collect if they start using the data that Northern Brewer has and has collected? Can they get true market insights into what's going to be happening next? Can they get in front of trends and put a product into market before somebody else does? I don't know. This is all Star Trek stuff, but it's possible. It truly could be possible that we are the forerunners of a whole beer culture, and if people start if they start seeing trends, they can start capitalizing on that for big gains in terms of monetary stuff. So I don't know. It's very unclear, but does it change what we do as big fans of the hobbies? I mean, so big that we put out videos every week, right?
One of the questions that came across my mind is when Northern Brewer talks about it's good for the future of the company, is how big of a retailer do you really need to be as a homebrew retailer? I mean, I guess everybody is Northern Brewer and its affiliates just getting sucked into dominance and growth and growth. I mean, I think that's what our economy pushes on everybody. I've seen mom and pop restaurants with only 6 tables producing phenomenal food, a phenomenal environment, a great relationship with their customers, suddenly say, we've got to grow, and they go get a 50-top restaurant, and 3 years later they're closing their doors because they just can't manage it.
Right.
Not that that's going to happen to Northern Brewer, but I'm just saying, how big do you really have to be successful? I mean, I've respected them for a while anyway, so that it's just it's an interesting dynamic of just growing for the sake of growing and.
But that's the American way, man.
And Northern Brewer is going to become the Amazon of homebrew supplies, right? Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I think Amazon's now the Amazon of homebrewing supply,
yeah.
but that's for a further discussion. I'm sure you're going to ask me some pointed questions to kind of wrap up this video.
You know, one of the things with the data piece too is the AHA and the BA already collect a lot of interesting data. I mean, you make a good point about
it's transactional
real marketing data versus. I think the AHA uses that data to help guide the smaller shops and keep track of the health of the hobby as a whole.
Yeah, it's more transactional stuff. I wonder if that's going to be the big piece.
Yeah. So, how when you shop online, how do you currently divide your online retailer locations? I mean, do you shop a lot at Northern Brewer, or do you? Break it down.
So I have to include Midwest in this discussion. So, if I do include them, it's 3 or 4 times a year. Northern Brewer probably a couple times. Midwest, I'm not sure why. I have accounts on both sites, and I like being able to, track my not only just the initial or the latest order, but also my past orders to see when I bought that stuff. Yeah. Anyway,
now I know you've bought hops occasionally at some other fringe sites once in a while too, right?
Fringe.
Well.
They're big
no
players.
offense to those people. Okay,
no offense.
So
they had it in stock. The other big guys did not. So that's why I bought it.
So most of the time, you're ordering through Midwest, and then to a lesser extent, Northern Brewer proper.
Yeah.
So that's actually all Northern Brewer.
Yeah, it is, and I think Midwest because I have some funds in a PayPal account, and so they accept PayPal there. So I buy a lot of things through PayPal on Midwest, but. I'd say 4 times a year I'm buying from it. But like the other big player, now that I'm an Amazon Prime member, I paid that $99 at the beginning of the year. I buy a lot of things through Amazon, and it's not esoteric ingredients, but if I need 10 pounds of Marisada malt and I need it in 2 days, guess what? Amazon's a great option.
So you order online probably more than you go to your local.
I do.
Right.
I do, and it's because of convenience.
Shame.
Shame. I've got 3 kids at home.
No,
that's honest. I'm being honest.
No,
I don't have time.
We talked about that too. Because I tend to shop a lot at. I mean, because we're talking about brands and names, I tend to for a very long time have done. I would say 70 to 80% of my online shopping at More Beer. And now that More Beer also has a warehouse in Pennsylvania. Their delivery time has been cut down dramatically
that's
too.
Good.
So, but the other 20% of the time, I do order from Northern Brewer, and I've ordered certain stuff for them because maybe they have something that More Beer doesn't have. But nowadays, I actually wait. I get emails from Northern Brewer saying, "Hey, you haven't ordered in a long time. Here's a 20% off coupon," and I'm like, "Yeah," and I jump in there and I order something, and then I wait another 6 months for them to say, "Hey, we miss you. Do it again." So that's interesting.
The last purchase I did buy at the local homebrew shop. Just so you know, that was 2 weeks ago, and I bought from the local homebrew shop.
So do you think you'll buy, as a result of this, do you think you'll buy more or less from your local homebrew shop?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, thinking about that, because I think a lot of people are saying, "Oh, well, now that InBev owns them, I'm never going to buy from them again." I don't think that's going to be true for me, unless things change dramatically in terms of prices and prices going up, that is, and service going down. I will be more conscious about being spreading my dollars. I will.
Yeah.
I'll think about it and say, gee, it's been a while since I've been to the place that I've been going to for over 10 years now. And I like those guys. I sometimes have a love-hate relationship with them.
That's another video.
That's a whole other video. But at the same time, I feel for them, and I do support local businesses, and I want to support local businesses. So it'll become more of a conscious thought when I am about to buy some ingredients for a homebrew session that I'm planning to do. I probably will say to myself, how can I get there? How can I lug the 3 kids in with me to the local homebrew shop and pick through like the hops and the yeast and, saying, listening to them saying like, when can we go home?
Yes.
Yeah, that's always
so
fun.
Even the argument about having a good local shop, especially as family guys, I can see it going both ways. It's just easier once the kids are in bed to go online and order, regardless of where you order from. Yep. But there's something to be said for having that personal connection, although I can't say I've really benefited from. Nobody at the 2 local shops I go to the most know who I am, per se. The one shop that I got started at and the one that John goes to and that we talk about, I actually drive by there on my way home most days.
Really?
Unless I choose to go a different route. But most of the time I drive by it now every day from home from work. So I've got the opportunity to go there. And I have, in all of my recent brewing, the last 5 batches, I've bought my stuff there. And I've been consciously trying to do it there. And this is long before we heard about this Anheuser, the AB InBev thing. But I've just been trying to get more out of my local homebrew shop by going there more often. I don't know if I am getting more out of it, but that has yet to be seen. So I think
you're making that local connection.
I think in light of this, I probably will shop there a little bit more. So I guess then the sum up question is, and I think I know your answer. Are you going to keep shopping at Northern Brewer / Midwest?
Well, yeah, I think I already said that. I probably will, unless something completely changes. Like if they change all their kits to Bud Light kits.
Sure.
Which I saw as somebody's wonky comment to
Internet.
the news, and I thought it was kind of funny. But no, I mean we'll see what happens.
For me, I'm going to say that I'm going to hold off. I'm going to hold off from Northern Brewer and Midwest because I want to see how this shakes out. I want to have until I get better clarity as to some sort of plan or some sort of direction. Because for me, one thing that comes back to is AB InBev. Now, home brewers and mega breweries have been throwing, little jabs at each
Super
other
Bowl ads,
or
man.
outright bricks and stones.
Yeah.
So if you remember back the Super Bowl, I think it was 2 years ago, Budweiser had an ad that said, it was even regular, that this is not a hobby. And so I have a hard time understanding, without better clarity, why Northern Brewer, who's one of the leading people that supply this hobby, would align with someone who's taking such an outright jab at it. But then again, it's all fair in love and war, because a lot of homebrewers piss on that yellow beer, literally, and I'm okay with that yellow beer. I drink some of that yellow beer. But whatever. I mean, people are entitled to their opinion. People are entitled to drink what they want to drink. But for me, I just want to wait and see, because I'm just confused. I'm confused why you would align in that direction with that process. So
I think I could draw some conclusions with very little evidence, but I'm going to keep my mouth shut. But what do you guys think?
So what say you?
No, I'm going to be honest. Does this merger or acquisition mean anything for your homebrewing hobby? Are you not going to buy from Northern Brewer anymore, Midwest Supplies anymore? Does it make a difference? Are you going to support your local homebrew shop more? I mean, I've seen an email from our friend Billy Boris who said, support your local homebrew shop. It's not just when you have an emergency trip that you have to get a yeast strain on midway through your brew session. It's about really thinking about it and supporting your local homebrew shop, because it's like us against them. I don't know. What's your thoughts? Please
join the conversation.
Yes, I mean that's what the comments are all about. This is a pretty interesting topic. I know maybe it's not that big. I think it is, because it's the biggest beer company now buying into our little niche, and it's interesting to me. I wonder how it's all going to shake out.
If it's all for data, homebrewers need to revolt by starting to brew nothing but cucumber stout, and see if AB InBev releases a cucumber stout.
We'll see in 6 months.
That's the way we do it.
Yeah.
That's the way we do it.
Shh. Let's yes.
Fight back, cucumber stout.
What's the
recipe in the comments below?
That's it. We'll start. Yeah, we'll do that. Okay. For John and Mike, brew-suits.com. Cucumber stout.
Screw the man.
And brew on.
Cheers.
Yeah.